And to discuss the market, we've got Avinnash Gorakssakar who's joining us right now. Avinnash, thanks so much for joining us. What a rally we saw in the markets, led by the bank stocks. Are you convinced with the kind of move that we've seen in the banking side, or would you be worried?
No, I think Mini, it's a dream run. I think 7 days of consecutive upside for the markets, and today I think the Bank Nifty was at its peak. I think up by almost 500 odd points. My guess is I think the markets are now building on hopes that with a good monsoon, much better than what IMD predicted. I think everybody is looking forward for a rate cut from Mr. Rajan, and I think that is probably the reason why the PSU banks were up today. But I think this could be a little unrealistic considering the fact that we have just started with the monsoon. I think July, August are going to be key months when the monsoon has to be well spread out and has to be good. So I would not be surprised if the rate cut may not happen, and if this doesn't materialize, that the rate cut, I mean you're again going to see some sort of sell-off. I mean, this is the expiry week, as you rightly mentioned, and clearly I think just after the expiry probably you could see some cooling off. I think 7 consecutive days of the markets going up, and I think clearly on the ground nothing has improved. So I think this is nothing but short covering and more of a technical bounce, and I would say that maybe at 8400 odd, maybe the markets could possibly breathe and easy, and probably we could see some consolidation and correction coming in.
Okay. But the clamor for rate cuts is growing from the government, from advisors to the RBI, from a whole slew of people. If there is a rate cut, could that be the trigger for a complete re-rating beyond this? And if there isn't a rate cut, what kind of time frames are you looking at?
No, I think my guess is, I think, as the RBI governor has said, they would be looking at data points. I think as long as the data points point out that, the numbers are getting better, I think the rate cut could happen anytime. But at least in the very near term, at least in the next 2 weeks, I won't be surprised if the governor would actually like to see the progress of the monsoon in the month of July. And more importantly, I think we are heading for a lot of policy initiatives starting from 9th of July, the monsoon session starts. So I think you're going to see a lot of clamoring, in the monsoon session, typically, from the kind of news flows we have been getting. So I think it's better to be a little cautious, because I think at higher levels, I think unless earnings traction picks up, I think the fourth quarter was disastrous. If you're talking of PSU banks, Mini, I think clearly, at least for a couple of quarters, asset quality problems would continue. So I think it's better to wait and watch and then see how the market moves forward.
Sure enough. But when the markets